Welcome back, Mistakes listeners. This is Dave, and this is a special episode for Todd and I, as this would happen to be our best of 2015 episode. So, Todd and I are going to rate our top 5 episodes, starting from 5 going to 1. Obviously, this is our first episode of 2016, too. So, all things good. We are now at episode 44. This episode is recorded on January 2nd, 2016. So sit back and enjoy the show. Welcome back, Todd.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, right? So obviously you had a I know that sounds surprising. Are you having a Happy New Year? I can tell you this, on New Year's Eve, I think my family went to bed at 9.
We went to bed after midnight, so.
So you actually saw the New Year occur, huh?
We did. We did.
With younger
Watched the
kids.
ball drop.
Yeah, there's just no incentive, I guess, to stay up late. And not only that, but it disrupts all sorts of schedule, right?
We used to do the East Coast feed.
Oh, smart.
New Year's. Yeah.
How do you get the East Coast feed?
I think we found it on the internet or something like that.
Okay.
The kids were a little younger. So we would do the East Coast feed, and that's sort of when we still center ourselves around the ball dropping in the United States anyway, so.
Right. Yeah.
It worked.
Let the ball drop. Right.
Let the ball drop.
What is that where that term comes from?
No, I mean dropping the ball.
It's a little early this morning.
I was going to say, that's a little bit of a stretch, but okay. That's where you want to go.
Someone drop the ball.
Okay, so what are we doing today? We're doing something special.
Yes, we are. Dare I say this might be part 1 of our best episode, and part 2 will be our worst episode, right? Should I jump to that? Should I preview? Because these are going to be 2 separate episodes, but we thought that we would have part 1 be the best of 2015.
Yeah, our favorite podcasts.
Well, that's not favorite podcasts.
Episodes.
Our favorite
episodes.
No, well, okay, let's be
favorite
clear.
Shows.
Because I thought about that, too. It's like, is it a little bit weird if we start promoting our own shows and saying,
well, we do.
Well, I think this was our best show for sure. Right?
Yeah, well, we'd have to have the listeners do that. But yes, it's going to be our favorite shows.
Yes, our favorite shows of 2015.
And truth be told, folks, we didn't really have a particular criteria, I guess. Did we?
Well, I think in time, we have more criteria as time goes on.
Sure. But we didn't say to each other, okay, this is how you're going to rank. We just said your top 5.
My top 5, what I thought were the best TV shows that we watched.
Yes.
And my reasons for.
Yes.
Right?
But we have not compared these lists.
So and that's the beauty of it is I don't know where this might lead. I mean that could be a double bonus for some of these shows to get the Parenting Mistakes seal of approval. Well, I don't even think we have a Parenting Mistakes award, do we?
No, we don't.
The PM star of approval.
Yeah, we don't. Maybe that's one of our New Year's resolutions is to come up with some sort seal of approval or something like that.
Award for being the best show on parenting mistakes.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. So,
Let's get into this.
Yeah. Okay. So, you want to start off with your number 5? What was your number 5?
Okay, my number 5 you are not going to like, but it's not about us agreeing on this. My number 5 was the Muppets.
Really?
Yeah, and I know you're going to, we've talked about this. This is strictly a guilty pleasure, all about me pick.
Mm-hmm.
Because I enjoy this show.
Right.
And the parenting mistake, the danger is wanting to let your kids watch a show that you enjoy.
Right.
Because we don't love to sit around and do things that are not interesting to us and not entertaining to us.
Yeah, and I know for a fact that you actually have continued to watch the Muppets, right? I
dig the Muppets.
And I would say the new Muppets, the adult Muppets.
I haven't really watched it that much just because I haven't had time. But yes,
right, I get that.
I've seen a couple episodes and they're funny. But again, they're not for kids.
Right. Nope. Well, okay, so let the controversy begin. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Because my number 5 was the Muppets.
Oh, no. Now, how can it be the Muppets? Because you kind of skewered that.
I did skewer the Muppets, but as I evaluated, I mean, I didn't totally skewer it. I just said, hey, this isn't for kids.
Right.
But at the same time, it is still the Muppets. And as far as, I think we'll, as we go on, as we discover what our lists of best and worst was, one thing that was interesting about the Muppets is they're trying. They're giving it a shot. They are reinventing a franchise that really needed to be reinvented.
Yes.
Right? I'm going to give them I'm going to give credit where credit's due. Unlike some other networks that are not doing anything with their, say, properties, the Muppets is actually blazing some trails. So it gets a strong 5 for sure on my list of best shows for this year.
Okay.
All right. I will move on. So that was my reason for the Muppets.
Okay.
Right, you have to understand, as you're listening to us, this is kind of stilted because we're trying to figure it out.
Right? It's all right.
There is no, brrrr, I don't know who came up with the drum roll, right? When did that first occur? Like 1875? There's some guy at the circus.
I think that
he's
was
like,
the year. I think that was the exact year.
Number 5, right?
All right, number 4.
Number 4. So should I go first on this one?
Go ahead.
Yeah, this is gonna be weird. Okay, I'm gonna say Arthur.
Okay.
I again, not a show that I totally loved, but I could say solid kids entertainment, benign, inoffensive, and actually I'd say at some level educational. I know that we got some feedback about Arthur later, which is we were saying that Arthur's buddies don't really give him a hard time. Right. And I think it was discovered later that actually Arthur has a brother or a sister.
Yes.
That really actually does give him a hard time.
Like, we just did see that in the episode.
Yeah. So we just didn't see that episode. So Arthur gets my number 4.
Okay. My number 4 was Odd Squad.
Odd Squad. Okay.
Yes, which is another PBS vehicle. Even though it's PBS and it's not a lot of crazy fireworks and hype, it's clean. It's got an educational message to it. It's got some solid content. And, this is where we always have these interesting discussions between entertainment and, say, content of value for our kids.
Right.
And what's the purpose of it? And should we expect networks to produce content? They don't have to. They don't have to produce anything in particular. They can just say, hey, here's a show. If you like it, watch it. We don't really care if your kids are being, developed or not. We're just here to sell a product. So.
Well, that's always a weird one, too, because I'm not sure if people are being developed while watching any kind of TV.
Okay.
Maybe they are. You know what? That's a silly statement. Of course they are. Right? Something is occurring to people as they're watching television.
Something.
Right?
Yes.
So I don't even dare tell you what my daughter's been watching recently, which is totally crazy.
Okay.
Okay, I will, because I'm sure people will want to know.
You can't just leave
that
on
just
the
say that.
And then just go.
So my daughter's gotten really into Shoppingkins. There is no Shoppingkins cartoon. There is no Shoppingkins. You know what Shoppingkins are?
No.
Okay, they're these little tiny figurines that sit about they're no bigger than 1 inch, and they represent something that you'd buy at the store, but they are animated, right? So if I'm looking at a tea kettle, it's got a little face on it.
Okay.
So it's as if that tea kettle became animated, and it's kind of jumping off your shelf, and it's called a Shopkin. And there are about 500 of these little things that you can buy, right? They're like Pokemon in that there are rarity levels. So when you purchase Shopkins, they come in a basket that you don't know what you're going to get.
Okay.
So she loves that because she just doesn't know what she's going to get, right? I get the basket, and I could get the rarest of all Shopkins, or I could get another couple of commons. So she finds that a lot of fun. It's a game when you purchase it.
So it's baseball cards.
It's baseball cards, absolutely.
Okay.
For little girls. But there are YouTube channels that are completely dedicated to opening Shopkins. Have you seen this?
No.
It's a brand new weird phenomenon, and my kids love it. Basically, you have adults that are purchasing like 400 Shopkin packages, and they open up the packages in front of the kids. And my daughters could watch this for forever. Because it stimulates that part of your brain like, I don't know what they're going to get.
Right.
And I can't really purchase this for myself, but I can watch this other person open it and see their surprise, which also gives me my surprise. Which is, I can't even think of a more American thing to happen. Like, watching another person open up prizes is completely entertaining to my daughters. They think it's the coolest thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so I got to be careful because I'm not exactly sure where this takes somebody. Right? Like, what is this teaching them? I don't know. But it's very they're very drawn into it, and the adults, all you see is their hands. You just see their hands opening up packages.
Okay.
And then you hear their voices get excited when they say, "Ooh, I got Princey Pot," right? "Ooh, I got smoky sausage," right? And they get really excited about it.
This sounds like a future episode.
Possibly. I don't know if we could sit down for a half an hour and watch people opening up packages. But we
can sit down for half an hour and do anything.
It's true. It is something we should probably look into, because I know that there are a group of children out there that are very into these. It's also this phenomenon of people watching other people play video games.
Right.
Like on Twitch. I'm going to sit and watch this guy a couple hours, watch him play that game. For me, it's I don't have to purchase it. I don't know. We don't have to get into this.
All right,
we're doing our top five.
Yeah, back to the list.
But it is something we need to get into.
What's your number 3?
My number 3. So what I liked about this number 3, and the reason it got number 3 was it shocked me. I was not expecting it, and it was a left field thing that occurred. Sophia the First. I couldn't believe that we were watching something that
you liked that a lot.
Well, it had such a great message. It was a really good message, and it came from Disney. Right?
Yeah.
And Disney has...
Say that was such a shock.
It really threw me off. It was a really, really good... Maybe we ended up with the luck of just getting the right episode, but... And I've watched some Sophia the First, but the message on the show is so good and right that it got my number 3 for sure.
Okay. My number 3 was Arthur, which you just talked about, Arthur. A lot of the same reasons. Fairly realistic, fairly edifying, but also, I don't know, likable characters, good story. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah,
so
number 3. So there's that.
All right, my number 2 is...
if I do it with my fingers, is it a finger roll? Can you hear my finger roll?
I can. That's
okay.
Really just unimpressive, but that's okay.
This is fingers. Well, okay, I could do a pen roll.
No, that's good. Okay, my number 2 was Inside Out, which was a movie that we did. We've only done one movie.
We've done 2 movies, haven't we? No, just one. Inside Out, movie. And maybe another one coming up. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? That's called a tease, right? That's a hook in the industry. I liked Inside Out. Good overview of what sort of happens with parents and children. Good assessment of emotions. So, liked it a lot.
Yeah. So, I actually did consider Inside Out for a pick here. But I went with Julius Jr., because as you know, I equated a lot of what I saw on Julius Jr. with Inside Out. I was suggesting that Julius Jr. was actually smart and deep enough to suggest that the animals and creatures on that show were a part of that child's imagination and brain, if there was a child. It's never clear if there was, but each character really did have sort of all that Inside Out factored into each one of them.
Sure.
Right, what was it? It was Sad Bear. What was the name of that bear? Or is it a bear?
Worry Bear.
Worry Bear, right?
Worry Bear.
Worry
yes.
Bear, the quintessential Julius Jr. character. That was my number 2.
All right, number 1.
Number one. Todd, what was your number one?
My number one was Little Lunch.
My goodness. You know what? My number one was Little Lunch, too.
Hey!
So, I'm hoping... So, again, folks, I have seen how you guys have viewed a lot of our stuff on iTunes, and I've noticed that Little Lunch is down there, far down there, as far as ratings, or like, say, not rating, but as far as picking it up and viewing it. And I don't do that. Review, watch... Listen to our show, because we can convince you that this is a great show for all ages. It just doesn't have, you know, I was saying...
Be careful, though. We've seen one episode.
I watched five. I watched five more. I have watched five more, and it is as just as enjoyable. In that first episode, it just continues to get better. Because the cast gets better. The kids get better. And, boy, I could not recommend that show more. And it's disappointing because, right, it doesn't have a target location. It doesn't have any commercials for it. But, boy, you know, anybody can sit down and watch it and have a good time.
Yeah, it's smart. It's realistic. I mean, obviously, these are kids that are very articulate and maybe don't talk exactly the way kids do, but it's great to see a show that really is sort of done from a kid's perspective. Yeah. It's not. It feels like it's from the kid's perspective, not just adults that are sort of misremembering what it's like to be a kid.
Yeah, it's absolutely hilarious. It's a total treasure. It's a find.
A treasure?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, what would they say in Australia? It's a total shrimp on the Barbie?
Oh, well, that's just a stereotype right there. Shouldn't be stereotypes on the show.
I don't know what they say in Australia.
Yeah, well, there you go. All right, do we have anything else?
That was our best of 2015.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have any best for 2016.
No. Hopefully we'll have best of 2016. Right. Hopefully we'll hang around that long and do
it. Yeah, good point.
All right, you can follow us on Twitter, Parent Mistakes, or you can like us on Facebook. We'd like you to like us. Just go to our Facebook page, Parenting Mistakes. It's got the big green square there. Leave us comments, positive or negative. Tell us your New Year's resolutions. All that kind of good stuff.
Yeah.